name is Anna Mari Fanthorpe, and I'm your host as usual. Today we have one of our stellar returning guests coming on. Lisa Meyer from Zeald is here, and we're talking about customer identification and targeting. A great topic because we always want to be able to be finding our customers and making sure that we know who they are first, identifying who that customer base is so that we're not just what they call spraying and praying, they call it, and then being able to hone in on that targeted customer and maybe do some conversions into sales. Woohoo! That sounds so good to me. Now, you might be streaming with us on a number of platforms, and you can always communicate with us on those platforms using the chat function, the Q&A function, the comment sections. So do pop your questions in there because Lisa is really great at answering questions throughout the session. Honestly, I've seen her it doesn't matter what you throw at her at this point. I'm knock on wood, I don't want to jinx you, Lisa. She always manages to bring home the goods. So that's really cool. Now, just a quick service announcement, we'll call it. I just want to promote it all this week to make sure that everyone knows that it's happening. There is a comp called Boost My Office that is currently running. It is available to all folks. Even if you've already registered for Digital Boost, you can still enter by signing up to it. You do that by logging in and then sign up to the Boost My Office comp. You can refer a friend and you get points for that as well. So the person with the most points ends up winning this competition which closes the 11th of October. And the package, so what is it? It's a MacBook Pro. It is a desk, it is a screen, and it is a package from Xero, and it totals about $4,000. So get yourself entered into that because who doesn't want to win a whole new office and like a Mac Pro? Hello. Lisa, good morning. Sorry about the service announcement there.
It's all good. I've seen it advertised, and I'm like, what amazing gift that people can, prize that people can go in to win. That would just help a lot of people, I can see. So hopefully someone gets it with all their points.
Oh man, I wish I could enter so badly.
I do look at those. Yeah, I'm probably similar. I look at them and I'm like, oh, that would be really cool. But I'm sure it will go to someone who's trying to get their business going, which is just awesome. That so many people have come on board to support that. So
Totally. Yeah. Totally. There's actually so much going on. I could rattle off a whole bunch of other things that are happening, but I wanted you to get started because I know we always take up the full time, Lisa. I know we always run to time. So I'm going to jump off. Okay. And to make sure everything's running in the back.
Cool. Awesome. So we've said today we are focusing on customer identification and targeting. So very true, the spray and pray approach, I even mention it in here, is not the best approach. It's where you can find you actually waste a lot of money, time, and energy. So let's go through and start looking at it. So best to start off with is your customer should be at the heart of every digital strategy that you have. So the better you can find them and sell to them, the more successful you will be. Targeting people who don't really want your product, you're probably not going to see many results there. So who is your ideal customer? So this is someone whose needs and wants you are able to provide your offer to. So they are people that you want to target for your marketing, as they will be the people that see the real value of your product and service. And so your benefits generally relate to certain information about them, which makes them the ideal customer to target. So what are the benefits of identifying your ideal customer? So it creates an accurate profile of your target market. And it helps you to learn more about your ideal customers' demographics, interests, and behaviors. This will then help you to create offers that are more likely to entice and resonate with them, and also make sure that you're on the right platforms, that you're in the right space. So it will improve your marketing messages. So for that, When you know who your target customers are, you are very much better equipped to create high quality and highly personalized marketing messages that will resonate with them. And so, like for example, email marketing, it means that your subject lines to get people to open them are targeted towards that market, that audience, and so it's more likely you're going to get a better click-through rate as well, rather than just taking quite a wide approach to it. So it will help with optimizing your spending. So either optimizing it or even saving on it. So customer identification and targeting are very important, especially if you're running paid advertising. So when you know who your ideal customers are, you also know where, when, and how to target them online. So this is a very big key one. A lot of the time when I've worked with people, I've spoken to them, they go, oh, well, I've done paid advertising, it didn't work. But when you actually look at the campaigns they ran at the time, it was very much a let's just try and capture everyone, because then maybe we'll just get 1 or 2 of them, rather than let's actually really target it and potentially get, 5 to 10 people each ad we run. And so out of all of this, the best part of it is that it can also increase in your profits. So as your marketing messages and targeting improve, you're more likely to get greater returns on your marketing efforts, which more often then leads into leads, conversions, and profits. So very key. I'm living in a new development and not so much digital, but still quite clever. We had a blinds company come and actually target the area as the new houses were popping up, and basically drop little leaflets with go to our website, see what offers we have on sale for you. So that was one way that they sort of went, these people are our ideal market right now, and this is how we can get them some deals. So that's what you're looking for as an example. Now, identifying key customer groups. So your customer base is filled with people with varying needs, interests, and buying behavior. And so not all of your customers are your ideal customers. So you will need to segment your customers into smaller groups by categorizing customers according to key differentiating factors, so such as demographics, buying capability, or geography as well. So that's something that you need to keep at mind. You might actually end up with a couple of buyer personas, which I'm about to go through, and that's fine. It just means that maybe instead of having the one marketing message, you'll have 2 or 3, or you're trying to maybe group them together if they're very close in terms of information and demographics, but it's helpful to make sure that you are segmenting your customers into these groups. So segmenting customers into smaller groups will help you create hyper-specific marketing messages that will help you get better results. So what is a buyer persona? And this is a great sort of way that you can put it together. And I really like the image we've put here, and because it just gives you a real good overview of having a name to it. So that can be important. It helps you sort of visualize this person, and then a little summary about them, and then you're putting in their goals, challenges, purchase behavior, interests, hobbies, benefits of my products. So going to go through it now, but that's just a good template and that you'll be able to sort of utilize with this. So you need to know who you're talking to before you can sell to them. A buyer persona is a fictional representation of your ideal customer based on research-based data about your existing customers. So a good buyer persona is complete with information about your ideal customer, including a name, age, interests, profession, address, address, more country or area, behavior, goals, buying patterns, and pain points. So these are all the things you want to know, because then you can help by identifying what your product will benefit them with. And this information really helps there. So what we have first, it is really good that your buyer persona is based on real data. So you can use real data from your existing customer database potentially, and then also using tools such as your Google Analytics and information that Google AdWords will have as well as, and Facebook has really good demographic information around people that are looking at your product or similar products. So lots of tools out there to use for this. So you can begin creating your buyer persona by using the existing marketing data or feedback from your sales team or from what you're seeing come through. And then you can also create one by conducting surveys and interviews with customer and prospects as well. So when you're sort of seeing people maybe who are inquiring, you can start gathering some information about them. So now how do we create it? So step one, start creating a simple buyer persona by mapping out your existing customers and repeat purchases based on their certain characteristics. So you want to group your customers based on their motivations behind buying your product. So you might not know this, like if you're not talking to them directly, you might not know their exact motivations. But what you can do is look at what products they're buying and when they're buying them. And that should help with certain motivations behind it. So for example, you might sell seeds, you might sell plants, and so you might notice an uptake of that during spring, and obviously it's because people are starting to want to go outside more, and you can see the motivations are that they're starting to get back into the garden. We're coming out of the winter month. Oh, sorry, I put the same slide in twice, sorry. There we go, designing a buyer persona. So step two, you want to write down their most common characteristics, such as age. So you should have a feel for this, but again, this is where your Google Analytics data and Facebook data, if you're on social, they should give you an indication towards this. It's normally a range. When you're doing your buyer persona, it's good if you could actually put in just a specific age, because it's good to really, like I said, create this person. When you create this person and you actually start writing your marketing material, you actually act as if you're speaking to this one person. Okay, so that's why it's really good that you focus just on real specifics with it. So then gender as well, so that's a good key point. Male, female, I know I've worked with people in the past who you know, they'll say, oh, well, it's generally a male that will come in and inquire, and maybe it's a female that makes the decision, or they do go back and decide with someone else. So be aware of that, because you might notice that sometimes, you know, maybe by who comes into your shop and then who comes in to buy, that it might be one person coming in and then the partner coming in with them to buy. So just be aware of things like that as well. When doing this, and it's absolutely fine if you actually end up doing two, because both genders there, because it covers both. So location is another important bit, and Google, Facebook, all the analytics are really good at giving you the idea of which location they're in. It's obviously not their specific address, but they give you a rough estimate of whereabouts they are. So that's really good. Then their job. So you don't need to write down a specific job, but you might want to sort of, it's where you go, are they in trade? Are they in sort of admin office roles? Are they in management roles? Are they in sort of high C-suite roles? So that's what you're sort of looking for then. And then when you can just give the person a role within that. Then interests and hobbies. So what would they be interested in, or what type of hobbies do they have? And there are some information you can get from your analytics on this, but this is where sometimes it's very obvious because of what you're selling. So for example, worked with a company regarding basically sort of food, etc., and nutrients for horses. And so it was quite clear that one of the interests or hobbies of their buyer persona was that they were people that loved animals, and in particular loved horses. So, you know, there's some really, really obvious ones there. But then you could go more generic. So someone, maybe a florist creating this, interest or hobbies. So that's a bit different, but some things you might pick up on here is that there's someone who potentially likes to socialize and therefore likes to take gifts with them. So that's sort of one thing you could be looking at there. Or they might be quite family orientated, and so buying presents to celebrate special occasions is quite important. So you'll get some information out of your analytics, but you will be sort of knowing from who you're talking to, who you're selling with, if you have a shop, or if you're engaging online with them, you will start to pick up some of these. So after we look at their job, it's good to think about their work and income. So more income based this area is. So, you know, when you look at income, you want to sort of go, what sort of range of income are they likely to have? Now, this bit is actually also very important when you're looking at pricing your products, because you'll look at the income range that you're targeting, and you'll obviously want to make sure that your pricing of your products fits into that. But what can also help here is that when you're crafting your offers, you can look at sort of this income range that these buyer personas have, and it will help you sort of go, oh, well, 5% would actually make my product quite reasonable for them to purchase, or 10% might. So it can help with that sort of offer within your marketing message that you're crafting when you know sort of what income range that you're looking at for your buyers. And then a very, very key one, digital media consumption and behavior. So this one, obviously very, very key online. You need to know where they are, essentially. So you need to know that where are my buyers going to be? Okay, where am I going to be able to target them so that I'm making sure I'm putting my time, energy, and money into the right platforms in order to get the right people here. So this is very important, and part of this you'll be able to see through the analytics, your own data if you have it set up already, to be able to go, where are most people coming from? Okay, so then you'll go, great, most people are coming through Google search. So that means they've gone onto Google, they've searched some words and they've come through to my website. Now, if that's the case, it does mean that maybe search and paid ads through Google might be better. However, if you're noticing that, oh, everyone's coming through Facebook or my Instagram page, then obviously that's where you would be wanting to look at your time and energy and money going into. So with this, very key, I think behind it all, definitely have a website. A website is your sort of mark in the world, in the digital space, and then be using these other avenues to drive into your website there. So very important, because that's what you want to be focusing on. You might get to this point and sort of go, well, nothing's really giving me a good indication of this. And that's where you sort of might need to do some competitor research and see where your competitors are spending a lot of their time and energy in. So what platform, because that can also give you a good indication of where they've found that their target customers, which will be similar to yours because they're competitors, are coming in from, or what platforms that they're utilizing. So then another key part, and again, now we're moving into sort of that marketing message space. So challenges. What challenges does my buyer have? Because this is going to help me know, what benefits I need to provide to this person. So challenges specific to really your product or your service. And it's very key to write this down at this stage. If you can't really think of any, it might be good to try and get this information through asking some questions. And it could just be as simple as reaching out to, say, maybe some repeat buyers. Or if you do have some friends or family that also purchase, you could maybe ask them to get a bit of a brainstorm together. So now that you've got all this data together, and like I said, that little template above, that just really helps you set it out. And you'll also notice with the template, it's not massive paragraphs. So I think that's something else to be aware with. It's quick little sentences or little bullet points. If you put too much information in it, you're going to have a hard time when you're writing your marketing messages to sort of direct towards that. So make sure you keep it quite simple, but have the detail there. So now you can really start doing these personas with the data that you have. So you want to find people with the same pain points or needs and place them into your buyer persona. So do this until you create multiple personas of existing customers. So like I said, you probably will end up with maybe 2 or 3. And don't worry if you've sort of not got a lot of time to do this. Starting off with 1 or 2 is perfect, because this is how you can start your journey here. And then as you move through it, you can grow this. So it's never too late to create another persona. And don't worry if you've not got it right straight away, you can always tweak it as well. It's just the case of getting this together. So step 4, give each of your personas that you've created so far an identity. So in the template you saw, we called her Sarah. So that is very important. You want to be able to actually talk to this person and identify them. Probably sounds a bit weird, but yes, you will be basically talking to yourself as you're creating these messages and pretending to be this other person. But it's very important because it just will help you with that real targeting approach. And you'll see why in a minute. So yeah, so give them a face, a name, a story that tells their wants, needs, and pain points. Okay, so that's what you're really trying to gather out of this. And then once you've done that, it's now time to sort of design your buying funnels, which are your marketing messages, your targeting, right throughout the buying funnel. Okay, so we're going to go through each of these. So now that you've sort of you've created your buyer personas and you've probably started segmenting your customers into these personas, you can now create the sales funnel. So the sales funnel is a series of steps that a lead follows to convert them into a customer. So this is always, top is always awareness, then middle is always education and teaching, and then the bottom is really coming in to go, this is why it's my product, here's my benefits. Okay, so just covered that off. So top, middle, bottom, and the top of the funnel. So the top of the funnel sales efforts are focused on getting more eyes and ears on your business. So the goal at the top of the funnel is often centered around getting more traffic to your websites or your other channels. So here is where you're targeting quite generally the buyer personas that you've created. But what you're not wanting to do here is try and target everyone. You do want to make sure you're sort of targeting those key maybe demographics and a few of those other points around, so demographics, sort of age, gender potentially, and location is a good one there. So you're targeting these very soft, I guess, areas that will capture a lot of people, but it's not so general that you're trying to target everyone, because targeting everyone, you'll find it harder to really get them into the funnel and down the funnel. So then you have the middle of the funnel. So this is now centered around generating interest and nurturing your leads. So really that teaching and that engaging with them to give them, really set yourself apart as sort of someone who's in a place of advice and trust and credibility in this space. So this is the stage your customers are about to make a decision on whether or not to buy from you. And so you want to increase their likelihood of converting by sending them very informative and engaging information about your products or services. And this is generally where you look at things like email newsletters, free PDFs, or free digital templates, tips and tricks, that sort of information at this stage. Okay, so this is where it's really key. Whereas at the top of the funnel, you're probably more looking at your search engine optimization, or doing some advertising through Facebook or Google Ads. So this is where now you've got them in a little bit, and they've probably given you their email address, or maybe you've got a button that says download this free tips and tricks book or something like that, and that they've clicked on and decided that they want to read for that information. Then we have the bottom of the funnel. So the bottom of the funnel is the final stage of the entire sales process. This is where your customers will either drop out or proceed to make a purchase. Okay, so this is the critical part in the sales process, and you tend to be a bit more aggressive in demonstrating your product or services strengths here. So this is where you're really going, here's what's great about us, here's how we benefit you, choose us. Okay, so whereas with the information, you're sort of going, here's why we're so great in the industry, this is why we stand out from our competition. Whereas now you're sort of really driving home, this is how we will benefit you, and this is why you're choosing us. So now that we've sort of gone through creating your buyer persona and creating this funnel and working out those areas within it, we are now going to lead into the digital strategy. So all of these steps take you right through. Okay, so your digital strategy is ultimately your guide in your digital journey. So it will serve you as a roadmap or digital framework that will help you stay on track as your business grows online. And I know there's quite a few different webinars on Digital Boost. So if you are wanting to go more in depth in this, there are some webinars out there for this. But for now, this is not too in depth, but it probably will help see how it all ties together. So it should be detailed enough to keep you on course in your journey towards growth, but it should be quite flexible enough to shift as your needs change in every growth stage. So if you're quite new to creating buyer personas and sort of working through the sales funnel online, it could be one that the reason why you want to say flexible is you might start to learn more about your customers as you're targeting them, and therefore one or two things within your buyer persona may change. And so your digital strategy needs to be flexible enough to accept that change. So for example, you might not realize that potentially Mother's Day tends to actually be quite a big day for you, for example. And none of your buyers' personas might quite target the right demographics or the right interest, etc., for people who would be purchasing for Mother's Day. And so over time, as you recognize this, you need to have your digital strategy flexible enough to make sure that when Mother's Day is coming up, that you're able to target your customers and potential customers necessarily for this. So just that's sort of what you'll learn over time. And it's not major changes, but it just means that you need to be flexible enough to potentially add in extra offers or remove potential offers as you find out more about your customers. So to create a digital strategy, you'll need to determine a few things about your business. So you will need to identify your goals. So what are your short and long-term goals? And you'll need to list these down as they should be the main focus of the strategy. So your goals should be the SMART goals: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Okay, so don't have open-ended goals that over the course of, that's starting off wrong. Just saying, I want to earn more, I want to have more profit. That's very open-ended. It doesn't have some specific, measurable, achievable, or relevant and time-bound specific areas in that. So when you think of it, try to get it quite specific. In particular with time-bound though, don't give it too short a time. Don't sort of go within 2 weeks. You do need to look at sort of that 2 to 3 month range to give it enough time to actually get it in place, tweak it a bit to get it, not perfect, but better, and then see the results out of that. So from that, then you create your customer's journey map. So this is individual online and offline touch points that customers encounter from the moment they learn about your brand until they complete a purchase. So this is where you take your buyer persona and your specific marketing messages that you are wanting for them, and you then link it through to the funnel. Okay, so your specific marketing messages will be at certain points of the funnel. So you'll have a specific marketing message for that top part. So where someone's just learning a bit more or seeing that they even have a need that needs to be resolved. And then you'll have a specific marketing message for that middle bit where you're giving them information and showing them why you're a leader, why you're better than your competitors, and building that trust. And then you'll have a specific market message for them when they're at that bottom, where you're really going, this is why you're going to choose me, because this is how my product or service benefits you the most. Okay, so that's what you're starting to link all together here. And then the better you understand your customers, the more detailed you can be in this space. So this is something where over time you will be refining it. And like I said, being flexible, being able to tweak it as you continue down this journey. So determining their key online channels. So if you have 2 or 3 buyer personas or a few more, this is where you really need to look at all of them and see which ones maybe have similar areas, or if they're very different, how you're going to approach that. So you need to see which specific online channels your key customers are frequenting. And then you need to focus your sales and marketing efforts in these spaces, because this will really help you streamline your campaigns, which will then help you save time and money. One thing that you potentially can notice if you do have a few buyer personas here, is that you might have one buyer persona that sort of starts off in the Facebook social space. You might have another one that starts off with the SEO, sort of just searching keywords or searching what their problem is. And then you might have another that's sort of maybe coming from referrals. So, you know, when your existing customers have maybe spread something about your business, they've gone, hey, these guys are great, you need to get their service. And you might have people coming in direct that way. But what you will notice during the funnel potentially is that once you've sort of got this wide bit at the top, which is why it is the funnel, they come into this next stage, and you might find that they're common across that, and that you might find that actually at this stage in the middle, they all have email, and email seems to be the best way to market them there. So you will find areas like that, because it can be quite overwhelming to sort of go, oh, I've got to keep up with social, I've got to keep up with my search engine optimization, and I've got to be thinking about my website at the same time. That's a lot of things to be thinking about. If you're also, you know, you're an owner of your business, you're running your business day to day, that's a lot to be doing. So I think it's good to try and find those commonalities between these buyer personas, because those are the areas where you can use the same platform, but just slightly tweak your message, and it can make it a lot simpler for you. Those are also the areas where you potentially want to look at trying to automate what you can in that space. So from this, you then want to create a content strategy and calendar. So this is, again, probably also a time-saving sort of task that you can do if you sort of sit yourself down and go, I'm going to set this out for the next 6 months. Because this way you may have all your posts that you want on social media pre-crafted, and then it's just a case of sort of copying and pasting and posting them at a certain time. So this is, I think, something that's key here is sometimes spending that maybe half a day working through these different items and getting them done and planned out can actually in the long run save you a lot of time. Whereas if every time you're sort of gone, I'm going to do a post today, you're then sitting down potentially and going, oh, what am I going to post about and what am I going to write? Whereas having it pre-planned and sometimes putting that time aside up front saves you a lot of time over the upcoming months. So the why it's good to create the content strategy and calendar is it's the most effective way to convert an individual from being a prospect to a customer by providing them the right content at the right time. So as you create this, you're still thinking about the funnel. Okay, so you're going, so in the first month or two, they're doing that sort of looking about, finding information, top part of the funnel. And then maybe months 3 or 4, you sort of know they're coming into this next stage where they want information. And then in the last 2 months, maybe this is where you're really targeting them to say, purchase with me or purchase my service. And so it's not always going to be that long. That's more if it's a big decision, a lot of money potentially, like let's say you do solar panels, that would be maybe a longer journey. But for some people, it could be a 4-week process. And so it's week 1, they're found on Google search. They've come through. Week 2 is an email. Week 3 is maybe an email again. Maybe they spend a bit more time in that middle stage. And then week 4 is when you're really going, come purchase with me. Okay, so you need to think of your customer journey map and create high quality and engaging content at each stage. And so your content should be detailed in a content strategy, and this could span over a month, season, or year. And then it can help you properly schedule your content in the calendar. So like I said, that time up front can end up saving a lot of time in the long run, because you're sort of crafted and created it all up front, rather than trying to think of something each time you come to do it. So the next thing, and this pulls back through to being flexible in your digital strategy as you maybe tweak and refine your buyer personas. So track and measure. Anything that you do within your digital strategy, you need to track and measure. So you need to make sure that the marketing campaigns you are setting up are tracked and measured in each of the channels. And this is very critical to as your campaign progresses and you want to review your marketing performance, as it will then help you identify which areas of your campaign you need to change and optimize. It will also give you information around whether your buyer persona is working or not. So with this, you'll be able to sort of get more information about your buyers essentially, and you may find that you're slightly tweaking little parts about them. It's hard to get it right first time. So that's just something to keep in mind. But the other thing as well to remember is everyone's moving. So as trends change, as we, you know, some of us grow older, etc., things change. And so your buyer persona might change slightly in times of that. So you do need to consider that as you're doing it. You may also find that your buyer persona changes with certain times of the years. So if I go back to the Mother's Day example, and you can use it as Mother's Day also end of year, you might find that generally your buyer persona are potentially mothers. Okay, so over the course of the year, generally when you're selling, your product and your services and who you target are mothers. However, your buyer persona around Mother's Day, potentially children. Not young children, but children, people who have mothers. So you are then at that stage, not so much targeting the mother, you're needing to target people who want to purchase or buy something for their mother. And so that's something to keep in mind with your product and service, and that you might have buyer personas that sort of pop up at times of the year. They're not a consistent one, but they're ones where you need to specifically target them based on events that happen throughout the year. And this tracking and measuring can help you build with that, because you will be able to pinpoint based on the information you get when you see peaks, and then you potentially can connect them with events as well throughout the year. So our targeting methods, so yes, spray and pray. So when you speak to everyone, you speak to no one. So when you are speaking to every person in the room, it's very hard to know that you're speaking to the right person. And you end up delivering a message that really doesn't speak to anyone or connect to everyone on that level. And this is why it's very important to have these buyer personas. And that's why I'm saying, give it a name, give them an age, give them, if you want, a face. If it helps you when you're writing your marketing messages, when you're trying to put together an email, that you actually going, hey, Sarah, this is what I want to offer you. So it's that whole sort of pitching to an actual face in person and going, is this right or not? I mean, if you need to, you can use friends or family to help with that as well. But it's very important that we do that. So marketing messages should be created with the intention of sending them to a specific group at specific points in the customer journey. Each of your customer segments will have varying needs, so it's very important to customize your message in a way that addresses these. So here are a few targeting methods you can follow in your marketing strategy. So audience or demographics. So target specific types of consumers that are included in a specific demographic. So you're wanting to target people according to their job title, for example, and you can get that. So if you're maybe a business to business service, So you might go on LinkedIn, for example, and so you might, and there it's actually really easy to target people based on their job title. So if you're offering services to potentially, resellers of food products, it's quite easy to generally target them based on their job title and actually also the industry that they work in. So that's one key thing you want to do, and you obviously get that information from your buyer personas. You want to target your potential customers according to their online activities. So you want to look at their online behavior, and this is just restating that you want to be on the right platforms. You want to be where your customers are, and you want to be targeting them there rather than sort of trying to target someone through search when it's actually a lot easier to find them on maybe Instagram or LinkedIn. So making sure you're spending your time and efforts in the right place. Device. So you want to target potential customers also according to the device they're using. So this in particular applies to you if you're running ad campaigns. So this is information you will get, and I think it's quite critical to understand, are most people coming to your website based on mobile, iPads or tablets, or through a desktop? Because that will sort of make you want to make sure that, let's say it's mobile, a lot of people look at you on the go, maybe they're getting a bus to work, etc. You want to be able to look and see if they're doing that then the mobile experience is really key in this, and that you have it quite polished so that they're not going to click away once you've gone to the effort of getting there. But then if you're running ads, you want to make sure your ads also look good on mobile. Most platforms actually have this and sort of show you how it will look, which is really great, but then you can make sure your imagery and your wording suits that as well and fits in right. Then you would also want to look at retargeting. So you want to target potential customers who also need to know about, who already know about your product, service, or business. So these are people who have already visited your website and potentially added products to their cart, but they never proceeded with a complete purchase. So this is just another way to target your personas. And what you've got to think of here, though, is that they're actually already been through the funnel. So you've gotten them to that end space of the funnel generally. It's just that they've not proceeded through. So these are the people where you're slightly tweaking your message and you're looking at a way to get them back in and to get them through the end of the funnel. So most of the time you can sort of use some of the messages that you already have. So it might be reminding them why you're a market leader. It might be reminding them why you benefit them. It's that sort of thing that you're doing to then get them back in and coming right through the funnel. In some cases though, in particular if you're e-commerce online, if they've added products to their cart and they've abandoned it, generally people use a slightly different tactic where they're actually saying, here, purchase within the next day and you get 5% off. So that's just another tactic that can sometimes be used when retargeting these people. And then a topic of interest as well is another targeting method. So using specific keywords or customizing your ad targeting to ensure that your content, when customers are browsing and consuming the content, it interests them. So you want to really, you'll get a good idea as you build your personas, as you get more information about them, and as you get them through this funnel, your analytics will give you very specific keywords that people are using to find you. You can then take these keywords and you can start using them in your content, and it can help drive the content calendar that you have so that you make sure that you're talking about the right thing to them. Okay, so it's very key information to get that can help with topics of content, and also making sure that you have areas like that on your website. And then back to measurement again. So really want to drive this home because measurement and looking at your analytics is very, very key. So most successful marketing and sales campaigns get massive returns due to consistent and systematic optimization. But in order to know how to optimize, you need to carefully measure your marketing campaigns. So I've spoken to a lot of people over the years, and one of the biggest things I do here is that people do ads and they actually close them off. And then they sort of get a bit of astigmatism and go, I don't really want to do that again. And a lot of the time it's because they've not been able to optimize or review it. And so sometimes people think if I run ads, I get instant results. I will instantly get people through. Whereas actually the reality of that is you'll run ads, you'll see maybe a couple of results, which will help you know how to target better. So you'll then need to refine and optimize those to then be targeting more similar people to that and then get more results. And it is quite a process over time that you would need to do. And so it's sort of not a sort of set and forget, it is continually optimizing this. As we like to say about websites as well, it's not a one-off project, it's a journey, it's an ongoing journey that you'll be continually tweaking and refining as you learn more about your market, about what people want to hear about, what they want to see. It is just something you'll continually improve over time. So most marketing channels will have free organic reporting capabilities, so Facebook Analytics, Google Analytics, etc. And these can come in handy if you're just starting out in the digital space. Alternatively, there is more sophisticated tools as well, like Google Data Studio. So something like Google Data Studio can actually pull in multiple sources of information if you know how to set it up correctly, and so that you just have the one report to look through, because it can help you keep an eye on real key performance metrics and goals that you set for each market. But for starting out, Google Analytics, Facebook Analytics, absolutely fine to sort of start you off and start looking at that data. And so from that, you then get to the campaign optimization. So the test, measure, and tune phase is an ongoing process that should never end. So this applies to all your marketing efforts across all digital channels. It will help you identify stronger and weaker points of your marketing campaign and then optimize as needed. So this will help you save more time and budget to get more substantial returns that will help boost your revenue. So this is one where you might start off small, but you might realize you need a bit more. So you grow, maybe you'll spend a little bit more, but then over time you'll find you optimize it so that you're actually getting more return out of your spend. So it's always good to be in a mindset of that when you're starting out, you do need to sort of see what you can afford, obviously, and what you can budget within your business, but you may spend a bit more upfront. And over time, as you optimize it, you get more out of that, or you may be able to reduce the spend slightly and obviously grow the results through the optimization that you're doing. And that's all I have today. So just a real quick little bit about Zeald as well, is that Zeald have helped over 15,000 Kiwi businesses achieve digital transformation. So if you're looking at a website or digital strategy, feel free to check out Zeald.com. We offer free strategy sessions. And then alongside that, we still have our GEM initiative running, which is free e-commerce service or charity websites. So head to Zeald.com to find out more about that as well.
This has been such a great session. And actually, we just got a question come in right now. I was like, man, there's no questions, no questions, no questions. What's going on? And then I think we're all like, just going, oh, okay. So it says here, is Google Data Studio a free service or pay?
So it is a free service. It comes with your Google Analytics and all of that. It's just, it's a lot to sort of, you've got to know which little widgets to put in place and everything like that. So there's a lot of learning to it, which is why generally we'll say Google Analytics first and looking through results there, or Facebook Analytics, and then sort of move to Google Data Studio over time. But it's completely free. It's in the suite. And I think, was it Google who came and did a little bit about it? I'm not sure, can't remember who.
Actually, but I don't know if Google hasn't done Google Analytics, but I have booked in a session. It's coming up with Effective Digital. So Glenn from Spike and James McComb, they combine like Voltron or like, the Power Rangers for those that are a bit younger, and they make a mega digital expert. And they're doing a session on Google Analytics specifically because there was a lot of requests for it. And that's coming up, I think either in the next week or two. So yeah, we'll definitely delve into that. So if you're really keen on that, folks, like register for that event. Yeah,
definitely. Because Google Data Studio is great. It's sort of, because it can have all your data in one place, and you can kind of go, here's the key data I want to see up front. It kind of works as a dashboard that you can just be quickly checking, and then sort of delve into further details should you need. So great tool, but it is for free, and it's just, yeah, if you've got your Google account, you should be able to sign in and access it.
Cool. And actually, I'll just let you know that session is Monday, the 1st of November. It's goal setting in Google Analytics, how to track online lead generation performance. So it's going to be that whole delve into that. It's going to be a massive topic. Yeah. So that'll be really great. Heaps of learning. Thank you. I thought I was nearly done, but now I see I'm not. Buyer personas will now have a name and a new journey map. Fabulous session as always. Thanks, Laura. Yeah. Look, Lisa kills it. She comes on here and she just like knocks it out of the park. How many metaphors can I use? Lots. I speak in metaphors, I've realized lately. Yeah, you always do such a stellar job, Lisa, honestly. And we appreciate your time so much because you really have dedicated so much time to the Digital Boost Initiative. You've been with us from the beginning. And I can't thank you enough. And Lisa is always so gracious as to send us her slides. So they do get uploaded as learning summaries underneath the recording. Not everybody does that due to their own systems and processes and protocols that they have in place. And we're just really grateful that you guys at Zeald do that for us. And thanks for another fantastic session. I'm just going to dart over to Facebook and just see if there's any questions there, because sometimes they pop up. It looks like we're good there, and we're good on YouTube as well. So we're good to go. Man, we finished early. What is that?
I know. I got to sort of about 1:45, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure there's only one more slide left. And then I'm like, oh, I finished early for once. So
oh my gosh, you can go and have an extra cup of coffee. Just another thank you. It was a great detailed session, really helpful. Look, there are so many sessions that these guys have done, and they're all this same style. So if this is your learning style, and this is, you find this a really comprehensive way to learn, go back onto the Digital Boost site, go to the In Case You Missed It section. If that's the platform that you're on, and just look up Zeald, and you'll start to see all the sessions that they have in there. You can use the search engine as well and just type in Zeald, and it'll pull up all the Q&As from these guys. They're always formatted like this. You guys have a brand, a style, in the way that you present. It's always the devil's in the details. There we go. There's another metaphor.
Definitely.
I'm going to try and speak in metaphors today. This is going to be like a new goal.
Yep. No, you're definitely killing that today. You even gave me one. You gave me the spray and pray, which actually really worked well. So
I don't know what that is. I really like metaphors, so that must be it. But okay, all right. Thanks everyone for joining us. Once I stop the live feed, I'll let you know what the session is for tomorrow. Lisa, thank you so much for I love seeing you. I feel like we're friends at this point, even though we've never met. But we meet online.
Yes, we do. Which is how a lot of people are meeting now. So I guess it's all good.
It's very true. Kai Kite, stay safe. It's Mental Health Awareness Week, folks. And everybody who's registered to Digital Boost has access to ClearHead. It is a mental health platform. It's got great tools on there. Take advantage. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see y'all tomorrow.